I just want to introduce MP, Gari Anandashngari. He's also in a hurry to go to Ottawa, and I'm just going to invite him for a speech. Before that, I love to speak my language, so I just want to speak in Tamil. So, இன்று நாங்கள் இந்த மிக முக்கியமான ஒரு கூட்டத்துக்காக ஒரு போராட்ட நிகழ்வுக்காக இங்கு கூடியிருக்கின்ற இந்த வேளையில் எங்களது பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர் அவர்கள் உடனடியாக ஓட்டவா செல்லவிருக்கின்ற ஒரு அவசர நிலைமையில் அவரை நான் இங்கு பேச அழைப்பதில் மிக மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகின்றேன். அவரை சில நிமிடங்கள் தமிழிலும் ஆங்கிலத்திலும் பேசுமாறு பணிவான்புடன் கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன்.
நன்றி. எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். நினைக்கிறேன் இனி தமிழ் தான் பேசுவேன் நினைக்கிறேன் கூற நேரம். கடந்த ஜனவரி நான் இலங்கைக்கு போகக்கூடிய சந்தர்ப்பம் கிடைச்சது. அப்போ நான் சில இடங்களில் போயிருந்த ரீதியில் ஒரு அண்டர்டோன் எங்களுக்கு பார்க்கக்கூடியதாக இருந்தது. குறிப்பாக முஸ்லிம் மக்களுக்கு எதிராக ஒரு 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 அண்டர்டோன் எங்களுக்கு அங்கே தெரிஞ்சது. போன முறை நான் 2016 போய்க்கலாம் அதை நான் கவனிச்சிருந்தேன். இப்போ திருப்பி வந்த பிறகு நாங்கள் கடந்த 2 கிழமையாக நடந்த சம்பவங்களை பார்க்கல. நாங்கள் ஒருத்தரும் இதில் ஷாக்காக இருக்கக்கூடாது. Nobody needs to be in shock as to what happened. What's happened in Sri Lanka recently, in the last several weeks, as well as last several decades, and what's happening in the region in South Asia is really a pattern that we've seen over and over again. There's governments going after its people. And in this particular case, it's maybe not the government directly, but definitely with government blessings. Innocent civilians are killed. And obviously property and other damages take place. It happens because of an issue called impunity. Impunity means that you can and you're able to do anything and everything you can in your disposal to attack a people or to attack an issue without having any repercussions. So when we have a 5-year-old and when that 5-year-old misbehaves, we often as parents will give them direction, and if they don't follow that direction, we will somehow punish them. We will take away in Canada, we'll take away their right to watch TV or play games. But in Sri Lanka, that's not the case. Over and over again, we've seen a record of this government and these successive governments who have essentially attacked their own people or their own citizens, and they have been able to get away with it and essentially get away with murder. And we see that. We see that, in fact, the first anti-Moor riots took place in 1919. And it's close to 100 years now. We're seeing this pattern repeat itself. 1950, I'm sorry. I should double-check my notes with you in the future. But definitely so it's over 100 years, and we see this repeat itself. And in the last, the last part of the war in 2009, we know that there are serious allegations that have been leveled against the parties to the conflict, and notably the 2012 report from the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has indicated that war crimes and crimes against humanity have taken place. Yet the government fails to take decisive action to make those people who are accountable towards any type of justice. And if you look at the region, if you look at what's happened, I was able to visit Bangladesh as well in January. And when you look at what's happening in Burma in the last, again, 60 years or so, you see a very similar pattern. You see a pattern where the majority Buddhist state goes after the Muslim community in Rakhine, the Rakhine state, over and over again. I met, for example, a grandmother who's 87 years old and who's been to Bangladesh 4 times on 4 different occasions because she was fleeing persecution. And again, not a single person from the Myanmar Burmese military have ever been held to account, whether locally or internationally. So the bigger message for us, and while we unconditionally condemn what happened in recent weeks, the bigger message for us is to ensure that our world order has a process that allows for impunity to end. Make sure that those who are responsible are held to account. Because in 6 months or a year from now, sadly, we will probably gather here again. And it could be another group, it could be from somewhere else. But the recurring theme for us, again and again, is in order for people to live, in order for, and as John referenced, the 70th anniversary of the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it's a very important milestone. But we know that in the last 2 decades, we have seen many, many instances of gross human rights violations going unabated. And again, the region itself, I think, many, many more have happened in the region, in the South Asian region, than in other places. So the message that I take from here and from what's happened is that we need to do more. We need to do more to advocate for the issue of accountability across the board, particularly with what happened in the last several weeks. I was in Geneva last week as this issue unfolded, and I was able to speak to the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, as well as several governments who are quite concerned that this pattern is actually repeating itself in Sri Lanka. So with that, I pledge to continue to work with all of you in advancing the issue of human rights and making sure that impunity ends once and for all. Thank you.